So I would say it's interesting to me that in my time teaching, they've changed the like a blueprint on a high stakes test. And so now the reading blueprint for the Ohio State test for language arts says that there are science and social studies standards that are related to reading. And that didn't used to be there even a few years ago. They didn't have those standards present. And if a standardized test can figure it out, then we all know for sure that it's true that there's no question that when you kids need to understand writing is writing is writing wherever it is. It takes different forms, it takes different language, it takes different approaches and points of view and perspectives, but that I can write in science in the same way that I can learn things in language arts that ripple over into that writing. I can compose something in social studies class that is directly related to things I've learned about in language arts class, and yet it can deepen how I write because my lens and my perspective is totally different, and kids become completely consumed with the idea that I can only write when I write in language arts, or I can only write when I'm answering a question. And when you cross collaborate or you mention, and like kind of like that transfer I was talking about before, when you see kids realize communication is effective in all the places, that's language arts alive in other areas. And then they start to realize, oh, those things we were talking about, how I can't use pronouns and just say he or she about someone in history. I have to name them so people know who I'm talking about. They start to realize they're too vague sometimes when they write. And then they're all of a sudden in science class a half an hour later and they realize that they can't talk about cells by calling them it, because now all of a sudden that's not clear. And we learned about pronouns in language arts class and how they can make our work vague. And you start to see them use that knowledge other places because they're having writing opportunities in science and social studies class, because those teachers view the content literacy every bit as important as language arts literacy in general is. If it's lost on a science or history teacher or even a math teacher that they're not also teachers of writing, then we're in a lot of trouble. And we have a teacher that we work with who had an experience where she said math is a class that also involves writing, and people told her that was a dangerous concept, that that's not really true. And it is true. It absolutely is true. And it absolutely is important and paramount that the teachers know that it's true, that their content literacy is everything, because disciplinary literacy is relevant. And it matters, the literacy of a discipline matters, and when kids can break that all down and then reconstruct it, it's powerful to them, because they realize when I write like a scientist, I need certain skills. When I write like a historian, I need certain skills. When I write in general my own thinking about any topic, it looks a little different and I have more choice. When I write as a mathematician to prove what I know, it looks a little different. And the only way they get that is if everyone's on board